Welcome to Brand Experience Magazine's webinar, exploring what we can learn from the legal cannabis market. This inspirational webinar is free for registered attendees, thanks to our sponsors, Fiberbox Association, Force Packaging, and PrintPack. I'm Linda Casey, Brand Experience Magazine's Editor-in-Chief and today's host. Today we are joined by two cannabis industry experts who will share marketing, branding, design, and business insights from their study of and experience in this fast-moving consumer segment. Catherine Merrifield, owner and founder of Cat's Naturals, and Tom Newmaster, founder and partner of Force Packaging. Our first speaker is Kat, who founded Cat's Naturals in 2015 after she stumbled upon the curative powers of CBD while trying to help her husband, who after 13 years in the military began showing signs of PTSD. Pulling on her experience and education in natural health, Kat graduated from Clayton College in 2006 with a natural health and nutrition degree. Kat decided to create her own CBD oil business, focuses on helping people over profit. Today, Cat's Naturals is a thriving business, and Kat was recently named as one of the most inspiring women in the cannabis industry by Cannabis Bright Light magazine. Welcome, Kat.
Thank you for the introduction, Linda. I'm Catherine Merrifield. I'm CEO and founder of Cat's Naturals CBD Hemp Company. We started back in 2015, so there's been a lot of changes that have happened in the industry since our inception. And today I just wanted to talk a little bit about the collaboration and adaptation that may happen to you as newly in the industry or even if you have been in for a while. Two of the major things that I've learned while being in the cannabis industry is that collaboration and adaptation are so very important. The first thing I'm going to go over is collaboration because I feel like it's number one. We're in this burgeoning industry that is being simultaneously embraced and rejected, and we really need each other to help navigate this new territory. In navigating that new territory, the relationship aspect is probably primary and forefront. It can be kind of daunting at first as we try to figure out who it is that we can trust in the industry and who has the information that we need. And I find that just going down the chain of custody is a great way to get started. So, you're looking at your farmers, your extractors, maybe your formulators and manufacturers, people that you're going to need for design and branding, your sales and retail connections, the distribution connections, your advocates. It's very important to me that you stay in a political arena and try to make the changes you want to see. So finding out who your advocates are is very important, as well as, diving into some of the other aspects of the hemp industry or the cannabis industry that you may not be in, and learn as much as you can. It's really important to have all of the information, go and cross-reference it, and find out who you can trust within the industry. And always, rely on your gut. Some of the questions that you may want to start with when you're formulating your business plan and where am I going to be in this industry is to look at, what niche is right for you. You can go through all of that chain of custody and find out what really speaks to you. And then, look at the other markets because you may not find yourself in the CBD or THC marketplace. Maybe you're going to be in the building materials or farm enhancement or people who help others find connections. So there's so many places that you could be. And then, go and find some expos or some business summits to just start out with. That can be your first place to look at for those different connections and relationships. It's been very important for us to make sure that we're partnered for success. And going to events and meetups can help you start those relationships. And then you cultivate those relationships by really digging in, finding out who these people are, and how they're thinking and how they're conducting their business and whether they're going to be a right fit for you. And then learn all the new things that you can learn, because in this industry that's always changing, innovation and education is key. Everything that you learn, you can then give to others. Another thing that I've found to be really helpful is when you do want to find events to find your partners and those different relationships, that it's really important to start out by formulating a plan. If you're going to spend money to go to events and expos, you really want to make that money work for you and your business. So once you've found your event, then get the attendee list, and it's usually published by the event manager. And then look through that and choose your networking potentials. You know, write down their names, get their contact information, and then before you go ahead and make contact with them. Set up a meeting or set up a time that you guys can see what each other's really doing. When you see them in their natural element, it can oftentimes help you formulate more of that understanding of who they are as people and how they conduct their business and whether you're going to want to cultivate a relationship with them. And then once you found your strategic partners, you know, you need to know a little bit about what you're going to do with them. So are they going to help you with your business plan, or are they just going to help you grow in that plan? What do you want to learn from them? And what types of people do you want to meet to grow your business? So all of those things together can help you really capitalize on that event to better your business's future. So once you've made your relationships, you really want to cultivate those relationships. And honesty and genuine personality is really going to get you further. Making sure that you stay true to who you are will encourage them to stay true to who they are, and then you're going to be able to get to the idea the fastest. You don't want to waste a lot of time cultivating a relationship that isn't going to be good for you or your business. So knowing exactly what you want to accomplish right out of the gate, you know, kind of have a purpose for that contact, and then, you know, find out exactly what you can as fast as possible. And then, you know, knowing whether you're looking for somebody who's going to help fund your endeavor or if you just need mentoring. And I always suggest, you know, start with mentoring, because they can help you formulate more of your business plan and find out who good funding partners or business partners are going to be for you. And then make sure that your ideas all line up, because you could get pretty deep into a partnership or a relationship and then realize your ideas just really aren't aligned. So finding that place by asking a lot of yes and no questions, you know, make sure that you really get to the heart of the matter. And then start building your business and your team together. So once you've gotten into the heart of the industry and you're doing business, or maybe you've already been in business, these are some of the things that we've learned that have helped us make it through to where collaboration started to meet those adaptation strategies. And the biggest thing was we didn't put all of our eggs in one basket. So, you know, when you're forming these relationships, you want multiple relationships across the board. If you had a relationship with only one farmer and then they had a bad crop year, then that's going to be terrible for your business. So making sure that you have lots of contacts within each part that's relevant to your industry is very important. Finding new ideas, always staying up to date. So research, research, research. It never stops. Brand awareness, you know, making sure that you're aware of the brands around you and what new technologies there are out there, even what can help you further your business or help you to stay relevant, and then strategize. It's so important to try to formulate at least a 3-month plan. I mean, when you're formulating a business plan, you need to have years ahead, but in this industry that changes so fast, I found that 3 months is about all that's going to be working. And then, you know, educating yourself, make sure that you read some of the current and past publications that are in our space. And 2 of the publications that I like the most are MJ Business Magazine and Cannabis Business Times. Those are both really good for finding out, you know, what other companies are doing, what's trending, as well as, new frontier data has spanned over the last 4 years and talks a lot about where the cannabis industry has been, where it's going, and actually shows statistics on that. And then there's another one called BDS Analytics, and they really talk about what types of products are trending, so whether healthcare or beauty, and that's very, very important to stay on top of. And then, of course, teach each other what you've learned, because you're not just trying to suck information from others, but you are part of the collaboration opportunity. So you're making sure that you can also teach others what you've learned. So adaptation is another skill that is so important. As we are constantly changing, and I know I've said that a lot, but it's key, not only are we learning more and more about this plant and its uses and navigating this new industry that hasn't really been fully understood and regulated, it's important that you set your standards really high and don't get too attached to an idea or a way of doing something. I like this slide because it shows all of the places I feel like I've been in as a business owner in this industry. You feel like you're climbing, you're walking a tightrope, now you're blind, you're jumping over your fires, you're climbing over walls, but ultimately we're all trying to get to that goal of creating a good product that's going to help people. These are some changes that we've encountered. Our business plan is constantly changing. The messaging and how we get our marketing strategies out there is changing. I mean, ultimately, our base message, which is quality products, doesn't change, but how we put that message out there has changed a lot. Our labeling has changed multiple times as the industry standards have changed. And we haven't gotten a lot of regulations laid down yet, but knowing how to set your own standard that's very high within the industry can definitely help you with that. One of the things that has always tripped me up in the business plan is trying to forecast into a future that is very unknown. So what I try to do is place benchmarks, but allow for a fluid plan within those benchmarks. The way that we've navigated the messaging and marketing is that as regulations have come out, maybe instead of redoing all of the boxes, just applying a sticker over the label. We had last year 4 industry changes to our labeling, and it was very costly. So, trying to figure out different ways, like maybe only doing short runs for your labels, your boxes, can help you adapt to that change. The industry standards, like I said before, they're ever changing, and until the FDA actually comes out and makes a ruling, we're going to keep dealing with those erratic changes. Last year we had a time when they said, oh, all of your products need to be labeled as supplements. And then they came out 4 months later and said, none of your things can be supplements. You're not in that arena. You have to change everything. And then later on they came out and said, you can't have drug facts, you can't have this or that. And so just trying to stay as relevant as possible with your information, but be vague. And that way, you're able to navigate some of those changes without having to spend a lot of money on them. And then making sure that, you keep good logbooks, you make sure that you keep all of your standards of practice where the FDA might rule, and then you're not going to have to make as many changes when it comes down to it. Planning for change can be pretty difficult sometimes, but having a great team built can help a lot. Making sure to train them to do multiple jobs can help your company dynamic adapt quickly. We got hit with a big change in our industry, and our e-commerce got shut down due to credit card processing. And during that time, we had to reformulate our entire business model to change from one major playing field to another. And luckily, we didn't have all of our eggs in one basket, so we were able to just switch hats. But during that time, we actually had to move some of our employees around within the company. And it was so great that we had cross-trained them to do different jobs, and nobody had to get laid off because their job had become obsolete. Another thing that we've had to deal with is unforeseen changes that cost us a lot of money, like I was talking about with labeling and different regulatory actions. It's really important to keep a savings account. Find out how much money you feel like you may need for those changes, and then try to keep that in your bank account. And then also, you know, when we did lose our e-commerce, for 3 months, our cash flow changed. And so having that savings account with 3 months of employee salaries and operating overhead in it helped us adapt to that change without going under while we were waiting, you know, for those first purchase orders to be paid up. Creating a larger portfolio within your company. So if something were to happen within the industry so that your company's main product or service was no longer needed, having a backup plan can help you get through that change without losing your business. And then keeping track of the changes that you've been through so that you can learn for the future, as well as trying to project by learning from industry players what may be coming. So if you stay connected to the legislature, stay connected to the FDA or your regulatory officials, you know, make sure that you have that direct line with them and never be afraid or intimidated by them. They really are there to serve you. And so having that connection to them will help you with future changes. And of course, as you learn and grow, I want to, you know, really put out there the need for sharing, because too many people keep their ideas and their concepts and their successes and even their failures to themselves because they're afraid of what people may think of them, or they're afraid that somebody may steal their idea. And though those fears may have some merit, it's very important that we share what's happening within our own companies and within, you know, the industry at large to some degree, so that other people can learn from our mistakes or our successes and hopefully have an easier time of navigating themselves.
Great insights, Kat. Thanks. Our next speaker is a longtime friend, Tom Newmaster. Tom has more than a quarter century of CPG branding and package design experience. From 1998 to 2016, he was the principal and co-owner of WFM. During that time, Tom led creative and won awards for the Hershey Company, Pfizer, Stona, Car Care, and Zippo. As the founder of Force Packaging, Tom has become a leading voice in the design industry. Most recently, Tom has been heavily involved in researching the cannabis business. He has done boots-on-the-ground research on state and FDA regulation. He has also met with Colorado growers, manufacturers, and dispensaries to gain insights on child-resistant packaging, and he has been watching states such as California, Nevada, and Washington, getting intelligence on intellectual properties being launched in the cannabis industry, as well as packaging techniques such as augmented reality. Tom also spoke about the cannabis market at the 2019 BXP Live Conference. The mic's all yours, Tom.
Thanks for that intro, Linda. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom Newmaster of Force, and today I'm going to talk about From Zigzag Rolling Papers to AR, a crash course on cannabis packaging in the U.S. Let's start with a quick multiple-choice quiz. What is the most effective channel for marketing cannabis products? Is it broadcast media, social media, digital media, banner ads, direct response, your local dealer, or none of the above? The answer is F, none of the above. Right now, the channel that's got them all beat is, you probably guessed it, packaging. So why is packaging the best and sometimes only channel? Regulations currently restrict cannabis marketing, whether medical or recreational. National ad campaigns are virtually impossible to execute because the category is regulated by individual states. And until the U.S. federal government greenlights legalization and standardizes these regulations, packaging will lead the way. Packaging can be customized by state, brand, ingredient claims, and satisfy all local regulations. In 2016, I decided to go out to Colorado and see for myself what was happening. I thought it was a real boots-on-the-ground strategy. I visited growers, manufacturers, and dispensaries. What I expected to find and what I actually saw were two different things. I expected to see lots of bad packaging and branding, and lots of companies that needed professional packaging and branding assistance. The packaging and branding was a lot better than I thought it would be. There's definitely some bad packaging out there, but for the most part, the stuff looked really nice. And the same goes for states like California and Oregon as well. States like Colorado are a petri dish for the burgeoning cannabis industry. We're far from arriving at a dominant model, but what I saw in Colorado appeared to be operating extremely well, and other states seem to be following their lead. Let's talk about some general regulatory constants. Dosage of CBD and THC, whether medical or recreational, needs to be on the outer package. Origin of the plant is tracked, example where it comes from and who grows it. Products must also be in opaque packaging. Buds can be visible in store. The word candy is forbidden. All cannabis products must be child resistant, whether in a bottle, bag, folding carton, or wrapper. Edibles must have the THC symbol printed, stamped, or embossed on the actual product. Take note of my disclaimer at the bottom. This stuff changes fast and could change before this presentation is actually aired. We need to go into a little more detail on those last 2 points. First, child resistance, or CR. Lots of money is going into new CR innovation for this cannabis industry. One example comes from Colorado-based All Packaging Company, who invented the leaf locker slide box. It meets third-party child-resistant standards under the Code of Regulation Title 16, Part 1700. The slide box also meets compliance as a tamper-evident package, but there are numerous other CR innovations: pouches, plastic boxes, bottles, and even dispensing mechanisms. Second, required symbols and markings. Once again, Colorado leads the way. The state's universal symbol, which is that diamond with the exclamation point and the letters THC, must be featured prominently on all cannabis packaging and edible products, recreational and medical. Additional required language on pack reads, "Contains marijuana, keep out of reach of children." Know this, the wording and presentation of each regulatory mandatory varies by state. This is why cannabis marketing in the U.S. is very much a state, sometimes county by county affair. In California, a state where both medical and recreational are legal, nearly 2/3 of towns and municipalities still don't allow growth or sale of cannabis. This pushback, coupled with very high taxes on legal cannabis, will mean that street dealers still hold a large share of the market. Will giants like Heineken, Consolidated Brands, and Big Pharma take over the industry? Not according to High Times. Quote, "The notion that there are these gigantic, big money players running in to take this whole thing over is just fiction," end quote. That's according to Chris Crane, president of Forefront, leading investment advisor in the legal cannabis business. The announcement a few weeks ago about Dixie Elixirs and Arizona getting together does show that big brand pressure is real and is actually happening now. Will federal legalization of cannabis fail? Probably not. As reported by NPR, in Colorado, where both medical and recreational cannabis is legal, the state collected $150 million in tax revenues in 2016. In 2018, that number jumped to $400 million. According to Podalist, quote, "In 2016, the nationwide cannabis industry was sized at just $7.06 billion, but by 2025, it is projected to hit $146.4 billion. Something else to keep an eye on. specifically augmented reality, or AR. It's a natural for this category, delivering brand content and user experiences in new ways, sharing videos and directly interacting with consumers, and providing easy access to dosage and ingredient data, recipe ideas, promotions. The options are limitless. Another packaging tech trend we'll see more of in the cannabis category is the embedded barcode. A leader in this space is Digimarc, inventor of the Digimarc Universal Barcode. The Digimarc app opens up as many as 50 channels on the user's smartphone. Digimarc is already working with the Canadian government on cannabis, and I recently spoke to Art Powell, Senior Director of Global Business for Digimarc, and he told me, "We are working with regulators who have asked us to serialize the packaging so that they can track from the time the seed went into the ground all the way up to the individual sale. This offers law enforcement a tool to ensure that the package wasn't tampered with." Keep in mind, merging AR and the cannabis industry aligns the fastest growing economy sector with the fastest growing technology, which will drive a $100+ billion ad tech market. The opportunities for cannabis branding and packaging are limitless, as long as you stay on top of the shifting sands of the regulations. Let me end with my standard cannabis presentation disclaimer. I'm not necessarily an advocate for cannabis, I'm just trying to raise awareness about the unique challenges facing cannabis brands, and hopefully we could all help provide clear and honest product communication to consumers, ultimately building better and stronger brand experiences. That's all I have. Hope you enjoy the rest of this presentation, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye-bye.
A big thank you to all of our speakers today for their insights on the cannabis market. We'd also like to thank our sponsors, Fiberbox Association, Force Packaging, and PrintPack, without which these free webinars would not be possible. On behalf of our sponsors, esteemed speakers, and the rest of the Brand Experience Magazine staff, I would like to thank you for your time today and hope the insights on the cannabis market shared by Kat and Tom will help better market your brands, products, and services.